Firstly, I'd like to congratulate Harold and everyone involved in bringing this event together. They focused a powerful spotlight on mental health and the desperate need for change if everyone is to have a chance for happiness. The statistics are startling, especially when each of those statistics represents a person. Creating greater awareness is really important, as without conscious awareness, nothing will change. However, awareness without action is like trying to drive a car without petrol. Unless we take that newfound awareness and use it to change the circumstances which created the problem in the first place, well, nothing's going to change. There's a tidal wave of poor mental health on a global scale. It has a monumental cost not only to the people involved, but to their loved ones and to society as a whole. I believe it's such a sad waste of potential. I think it's time for fundamental change, one which will require us to work together. This week's events have laid down the challenge of creating a society where everyone has a chance for happiness. And sustained success will require fundamental changes to the fabric of our society, and it requires the belief that such a change is possible. Will it be easy? No, of course not. But we have to start somewhere. And tonight we've heard of the testimony of so many people who are working in an isolated way. It reminds me of fireflies with little pricks of light. But just think what power that would be if everyone came together. I think the most important starting point is to believe that positive change is possible and to have faith. Believe you can't, it's a done deal. Believe you can, and even if you're not sure how, then you open the door of possibilities. I'd like to share with you a personal experience which taught me the power of busting self-limiting beliefs. I was the head teacher, or if you're in America, the principal of a large award-winning school for over 20 years, and I ran that school for the most part from my wheelchair. As a serving head, I also undertook a whole range of roles outside school in order to bring an income into school to support special needs and technology. I travelled widely, but always with the same driver and the same car, and he would take me to where I was going, he'd wait for me and bring me back. Now in 2006, a couple of years after I'd left headship, I started my own business, and I was at a course at the Excel Centre with Tony Robbins. And in the morning, he spoke of a program that was running in California, and I really fancied it. But I didn't have an electric travel wheelchair as I have now, and I just dismissed it. In the evening, they were going to do the firewalk. Now, anybody who doesn't know what a firewalk is, you walk about the length of this hall over hot coals in bare feet, and if you're in the right mindset, you don't get burnt. Now, I could only walk a couple of steps unaided, but I was absolutely determined to do the firewalk. So with somebody each side, I managed it. I was ecstatic. As my dad would say, I was chuffed to little mint balls. I sat back down in my wheelchair, and the guy behind me, the next one to do the firewalk, he was a double amputee. He had no legs below the knee. He turned himself upside down, and he walked across those hot coals on his hands. In that moment, I realized I was self-limiting. So that night, I went home, I booked my flight, I booked my ticket, I went off and did the program, had a fabulous time in California, and since then I've traveled the world both professionally and for pleasure. I have no idea who that man is, but I'm so grateful, because what he taught me is the thing that will limit us is us. And I share that story to highlight how important it is to focus on what you can do and to challenge the limiting beliefs that are keeping you small. It is time for action. I believe that in order to make the difference, which makes the difference, we must start with the quality of leadership. And we've had amazing examples of wonderful leadership tonight. The changes required will only happen when enlightened leadership becomes the norm. And it's why I have a hairy, audacious mission which is to positively impact at least 1 million leaders in the next 3 years through the development of enlightened leadership. And that's leadership based on integrity, compassion, and the courage to do what's right rather than what's easy or self-serving. Every enlightened leader makes a positive difference to those they lead, but I believe the magic goes so much further, because as they become enlightened, they look for the potential in others and they nurture enlightened leadership in others. And so the ripple goes out within our own lives, within the lives of families, and into the wider society. So I'm inviting each one of you here, and those of you that are listening to the replay, listening to it live or in future times, to support and help me in achieving that mission in whichever way you can. I believe it's time for leaders at every level of society, parents, within family and friendship groups, neighbours and within social groups, schools, within the care society, entrepreneurs, business people. We've heard about the construction industry tonight. And for those in government, to step into their genuine power. And for me, genuine power is the power to do good rather than to use that power to make dominion over other people. I want you to imagine, how would life be if enlightened leadership was the norm? And I'd like you to just think about a world. We had the wonderful rendition of Imagine. I want you to imagine a world where leaders consistently lead by example. They take radical responsibility for their thoughts, beliefs, actions and words, and actively encourage other people to do the same. Authenticity and integrity are highly valued because leaders have done the deep dive work on themselves and understand the need to lead themselves effectively before they lead others. They act as a great role model. They walk their talk, even when life gets tricky. Just imagine a world where leaders leave their ego under the pillow with their PJs or their nightie when they come to work. That they own their own mistakes and they learn from them. That there's a shared understanding of the core values and behaviors which underpin them, and everyone is held to the gold standard. Imagine a world where there's a climate of learning, collaboration, cooperation for the greater good. Compassion being a core leadership value. Imagine a world where leaders consistently demonstrate that they care about others and the environment, where there's an understanding that coming from a place of love is anything but pink and fluffy, because you can hold people to account so much more effectively when they know that you have explicit, high shared expectations of them, where they're fair, leaders are fair, and that they really care about the people who work with them and have their best interests at heart. A world where trust is earned and respect is given, even when there's a difference of opinion, and there's a strong sense of purpose, communicated effectively and shared with those involved, so that when difficult decisions are made, and of course we have to make difficult decisions, there's confidence that the decisions are being made for the right reasons. Leaders see their team as treasure. They look for the potential within it and they nurture it. Just think about a world where leaders have the ability to bring out the best in individuals, teams, and their organizations as a whole, where every person is valued for them, who they are, and credit and thanks are given fulsomely. I want a world where leaders have the courage to make the difficult decisions, but know that they've earned the confidence of others who recognize that decisions are made for the right reasons, even when they're unpopular. Where leaders engage in meaningful collaboration, where finding effective and lasting solutions is the priority, rather than stroking egos, scoring points, or lining pockets. I want a world where leaders harness the collective experience, expertise, creativity, and solution finding to give everyone the very best chance of happiness in life. There's a monumental shift which happens when we work together to identify and implement strategic solutions. Our words and our actions matter. Every word we utter, every action we take, how and when, or if we do it at all, leaves a living legacy. Just listen to these two words and think about the difference in the living legacy that they leave. Oh, thank you. It was a wonderful speech. Thank you. Just remember, what living legacy are you leaving moment by moment? And what else can you do? When things aren't right, but the issue feels too big to tackle, or because we simply don't know what to do, it's all too easy to feel impotent and to do nothing. That's when we need to engage with others. That's why events like this are so important. We need to engage to harness the power of our combined experience, expertise, creativity, and consciousness. Individually, we have the power to make a difference. Together, we have the power to create and sustain lasting positive change. Coming to events like this are important, but they're simply the catalyst for change. If we always do what we've always done, then we're going to carry on having exactly what we've got now. So what action are you going to take moving forward? I have a mission to positively impact on at least 1 million leaders within the next 3 years through the development of enlightened leadership. And I invite you to help me create a wave of change, to facilitate and support the development of enlightened leadership in families, in schools, in organizations, in government. How can we collaborate to make that a reality? So I've got some requests. If you have the ear of senior decision makers, please make the introduction. If you have a platform where I can share the message, please invite me. If you know of people who want to make a positive difference and who are ready to do the deep dive work on themselves to become truly enlightened leaders, to lead with integrity, compassion, and the courage to do what we need them to do, please encourage them to get in touch. Together we can create the change and give everyone a chance for happiness. Thank you.